I want to tell you about my student Becca Parker. So she was a very passionate, driven student, and I convinced her to take my class in text and coding. She had done a history thesis the semester before, and she was going to be finishing up her degree that year. She pulled a project team together and she'd gotten started and was about mostly through the month of September. We were in a student club meeting earlier that day and all seemed well. And she got in her car and drove home and wasn't in class the next day. And by that afternoon, there were some pretty weird phone calls that Becca Parker might not be coming back to school because there had been a bad accident. So the pieces of that story came together over the next few days, and the package of it was that this bright young woman her life was being shattered, and it was more than just an ankle, right? I mean, not that an ankle is a trivial thing, but she was going to need to, probably reinvent herself, right? Find a new life. It was a question of what to do about it. My class is not very big. Becca was one of my leaders in it. She's the sort of person who is a strong presence in a class. You need a student like that. And it wasn't just that you need a student like that, but that it was depressing for her not to be there. But also just, what was going to happen to her. And, that it would be a real shame for her to have nothing to think of but the accident from that point on. And she's, stuck in a hotel room. She doesn't have, her computer was destroyed in the accident. The question from her family was, we don't think she can come back to school because she's going to be stuck with her bones knitting together over the next several months. And she would need drastic surgery and not to mention counseling, all of that. And it just seemed so bloody depressing. I mean, imagine being stopped as a good student from finishing your degree, or just from stopped in the middle of the classes that you cared about and not being able to continue them because of this horrible thing that happened and being pressed with guilt. It just didn't seem right. And my instinct was get her a computer, keep her in the class, and give her something to work on. So my class involves a lot of assignments, a lot of homework. Some students hate that there's a lot of work in it. It's why I don't have a very big class, but every day they learn some piece of coding that's going to help them build web projects and digitize texts. Some of the texts we do are rescuing and repurposing operations. She had been working on her project was called City Slave Girls. The City Slave Girls of Chicago. It was a series of newspaper articles published in the 1880s by a woman whistleblower named Nell Nelson, who went undercover to work in factories. And she had been doing a text encoding project to bring these newspaper articles to life on the web and study some things about them, about factory conditions in the workplace. And it was just, this was her history thesis, and we were taking it to the next step with this project. So she had something to say, and we needed that project not to stop, and we needed her not to stop. So we, it wasn't just me, but I kind of got her started, kept her in the class. One of my colleagues and we got together, kept her enrolled in 2 classes at least, rallied our other colleagues to figure out what she would need to do to finish the semester or finish it the following spring. We went to visit her, we kept her up to date, Skyped her into classes, and Becca was sometimes really depressed, but she kept on with it and plugged away. We kept her on an extra year because it took her a while, sort of delayed her graduation, but over the course of 2 years, she came to a point where she started to walk, and we took her on a trip to Albuquerque, New Mexico. She had never left Pennsylvania before, but that was the point when she was able to start walking, and the sky was huge for her. The horizon seemed limitless. And I remember for her that was sort of a moment when, yeah, maybe it was the moment when the heavy clouds lifted off her life, maybe. And she is now started grad school.